Okay, so back to this. So Sasuke's off limits for that reason in terms of he wants to test limits. Like Itachi could just tell Kisame the fake evil Itachi truth the reason of like he wants Sasuke to develop the Mangekyo Sharingan so that he can steal it later and before killing him. Like if Itachi tells Kisame that beforehand, Kisame isn't gonna kill Sasuke. And I want to see Kisame try. Bro's gonna take 2 steps in his direction. That's all he's gonna get. Itachi's not gonna let him do that. He's not gonna get close. Even if Kisame's bloodlusted, he tries his hard. He's going all out to kill Sasuke. Bro's not gonna get more than 2 steps in his directions before he's killed. Let's be real. Sasuke couldn't die there. I don't care if Naruto, Kisame, Guy, and Jiraiya all teamed up to kill Sasuke for whatever reason. Itachi's somehow making it work. He's getting Sasuke out of there.
Of course. I mean, if Kasami had, I'll put it this way, if Kasame had moved to actually strike him, I think that Itachi would have broken his cover and struck and attacked Kasame and just would have been an ally.
Yeah, he tried to play it up as some whatever it is. He tried to cover it up, but you would have stopped him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he would have all out stopped him. If it came to the point where he would have had to go all out to stop him and he got away, his cover just would have been blown at that point. He would have then had that heartbreaking conversation with Sasuke true. Way too early.
First of all, let's say that Sasuke does tell after them he's gonna catch up to Itachi and Kisame. Really? Like if Jiraiya and Naruto didn't even bother. It's not like they were knocked out.
I mean, let's put it this way. Who do they have to run from? We've already established that the running they did, air quotes, was because Itachi was an ally, not because they were actually in any real danger. It'd have been a tough fight against Jiraiya, but we still think overall the two of them would have overwhelmed him and the kids in that hallway easily. Just because it was a tough spot doesn't mean they wouldn't have been able to break their way out of it.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest. They left Guy and they don't have to run.
Guy showed up late. Even showing up late, I think Guy could have caught up to him if he wanted to.
Oh, yeah. It was one of them things where they could have caught them, but I mean, you don't want to corner somebody that's dangerous and then force them to have to actually go all out because then you're putting them in a bad position. I mean, same reason why they cornered them at the shop, but they didn't let them leave.
Yeah.
They could have fought them right then and there, but they wanted to fight them on the edge of town.
And you could argue that maybe Sasuke would have gone after him no matter what if he was still conscious. But I think, Itachi beats him up, breaks his arm, slams him against the wall. He's stuck in Jiraiya's frog thing anyway. So he just doesn't genjutsu him so he's conscious. I feel like Sasuke is out of his blind rage at that point. He's not just going to rush in and get himself killed fighting Itachi for no reason. He wants to stay alive to stay strong enough to, or become strong enough to where he can kill Itachi. He's not just gonna rush to his death just because he wants to kill Itachi now. He's probably, in my opinion, gonna be smart about it and realize he can't do that. He's basically realizing that as Itachi's beating him up anyways. He's just giving up on fighting back. I mean, if you disagree, I don't really have anything to prove it either way, and I don't feel like we really need to debate that. But personally, I don't think Sasuke would go after Itachi leaves, but I could be wrong. I'll give you that.
I could see it either way.
Yeah, I would say if he didn't get beat up, I think he would still go after him. If it was just a thing where he just knocked him to the side or something, or pushed him out the way and they ran off, I think Sasuke definitely chases after him.
I mean, he was out of his blind rage at that point. He was in his depression. His arm was broken. I don't think he could have even caught up even if he wanted to, let alone I don't think he would have gone.
Well, see, I think that he didn't go after him because of how brutal he was beaten by Itachi. It stopped him from having the idea that he could actually go after him and do anything.
Well, exactly.
But had he not been hurt that badly, I think he definitely still chases after him, which if he begins to chase after him, it becomes an issue for Kasame, so you don't deal with this, or
but if he's not hurt that badly, then he's probably doing pretty well against Itachi. Of course, he's gonna go after him if he thinks he has a chance of killing him.
Exactly. So Itachi had to prove a point.
I don't think he's doing it for that reason, though. I think
I think it helps that reason that he was too injured to actually. If he couldn't beat him at full strength, coming upon him in the last moment as a surprise with his best attack, he has zero chance against him with the injuries he just took on. So it was a strong and harsh realization for him, is the best way I could think about it.
Okay, I mean, I'm sure he's doing it more along the lines of because he just wants Sasuke to have this thing be reaffirmed in the first place so Sasuke can get strong enough to kill him in the future anyways. He just wants Sasuke to be strong to be able to protect himself after Itachi dies.
I was going to think it's very much both things can be true. It was just one of them things where serendipitously, if I beat the hell out of you, you're going to hate me even more and focus on getting stronger even faster. Because he recognized Chidori. It's not like he doesn't know who the fuck made Chidori. It's like, oh, okay. So good. You're learning from the only other Sharingan user in existence that we know of, other than the guy that I'm never going to tell you about.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't need to do the Shippuden, Naruto, Crow, Shisui, Koto plan anyways for endgame. He could have just Koto'd Sasuke here if he really wanted to, so Sasuke can't turn against the leaf or whatever.
True. Ideally, he could have pulled that off.
I guess wouldn't have gotten strong enough.
Well, in the filler, he's, like, as strong when he doesn't leave the village.
Yeah, but that's not how it actually
I know. But Kamui, the theme of Naruto is friendship or whatever. If you're alone, you're weaker. Either way,
wasn't fighting for him, but he wouldn't be fighting for his. He would be fighting for himself, but surrounded by his bonds. So the problem is why Sasuke was fighting.
Yeah. But the truth is, it wasn't because of Kisame, but because Itachi wanted to remind Sasuke by replanting that seed of hatred, reinvigorating him more than ever before, like we've...
Which I think it's all of it. It's all of it together.
If we're pointing to one thing, it's obviously this. You know, the thing that's actually in the series.
They're all in the series. I don't disagree that that's the number one, but I'm saying it's all of it. And the point is, it's only amplifying everything in it. You know, to kind of close out I'm going to let you obviously continue, but I'm going to eat my last meal before I go to bed. But kind of close out, this is the argument that nobody wants to hear, but like, to a certain extent, Kishimoto made it clear that Itachi wasn't doing it to be evil. Even if you think it was over the top, he did it because he thought he had to for the sake of his act. It's clearly what he was going for. It's so like, we know that is why he did it. Even if you think he didn't need to in the end, it's still why he did it.
I mean, it's not just because I hate Itachi. Ultra agrees. You know, the writer who's not biased against Itachi.
Mm-hmm. Does Ultra think that Itachi did it because he was malicious, or because he just thinks it was over the top? Like, what is his stance?
Space agrees as well, but we can get to Ultra's messages in a minute if we're gonna stay on Itachi until you leave. But
I just want to know real quick what theirs. Just briefly give me like what their specific stance was.
Yeah, I mean, Ace, you're the one who was like arguing against them. If you want to be the one who does that.
Yeah. So in general, they were feeling that the actions itself, because it was so malicious in nature of what it was, would lead to Itachi being seen as a villain. Also, the whole idea that actually Kishimoto didn't have all of Itachi's arc and all that planned out in retcon, that was an idea that was brought up. But as I said, that's viewing it through, if you view it through our IRL lives, yes, it's a very brutal thing to do to a child. You view it through the world of Naruto, a world with child soldiers and then kids that are trained to be murderers at a young age. What he did was light in the best of ways. He broke his arm and gave him a 24-hour reminder of the terrible thing that he put him through, which he already believed was going to be able to motivate him to become strong enough to one day not only avenge and kill him, but to be able to defend and save himself in the future. Not the greatest idea, which he said he could have did shit differently after the fact, but in the moment, Itachi thought that was the best plan that he could come up with, one that relied solely on him being a villain, which was a role he had already accepted at that point. Now, the other side of it is that it was a very terrible thing, and he could have done less in that moment and got maybe a similar result for Sasuke. But for Itachi, it's not a risk worth taking to go easy on your brother in that moment when everything you've said and done so far has told you otherwise. as we said, it would look really weird if the guy that we've only been told was this heartless murderer that killed his entire clan takes it easy on Sasuke. Nothing we've seen at that point would show that he would do anything other than what he did to Sasuke, which is why it was so wild to believe he would do something so brutal to his own younger brother.
It was from Sasuke's perspective too, not just everyone else there, but like from Sasuke's perspective. Why would you fucking go easy on me?
Mm-hmm. It would be very confusing that the guy that you saw murder your own parents suddenly took it easy on you when you know he's strong enough to really fight.
But what did Ultra and Space say?
Ultra, I got
In
all of
particular.
Ultra's messages here. I wish I could do like the opposite of the click on what they're replying to go to what is eventually replied to from them, but I can only work my way backwards, but so I'll have
If you
to
could do it both
manually go
ways.
forward.
Yeah. And I was going to say, I think the real big thing for Ultra and Space was that later on, the reanimated Itachi's like, yeah, you know, I did things wrong. I could have did it better. Hindsight
Well, yeah,
is
that's
2020.
Ultra's point, because what you just were describing wasn't Ultra, that was Space's point more, so.
So yeah, Space thinks that he went too far in hurting Sasuke, and that was an evil act in itself. Ultra believes that in the whole idea that at the end, when we hear from Itachi that he probably went too far and could have did things better, because he's sad and remorseful, that means that his actions now at the current time would have been wrong, which to me, that's hindsight. That's not, he doesn't have future sight. He doesn't know. He did what he thought was right in the moment. And later on, he saw that it was wrong. To me, it's like a parent who is abusive to their children because they think that it's discipline in some other way. And then later on realizes that they could have done things better had they actually took the time to try to find a better way to do it. It's not that it's a good thing that was done, but it's also not that they were doing it for a malicious reason. They just didn't do a better option than what they could have.
So, for Kamui's sake, so here's everything that Ultra says. He says that even Itachi sees that he was wrong. He continues by saying, I think the story makes it clear towards the end that Itachi could have done something else, but he failed. He continues by saying, in response to you saying that Itachi's just like nearly any other character, he could have done something different to have a better outcome, basically what you're just saying. In response to that, Ultra says, that's not even true. When Itachi dies, he literally suggests there were other options. He's legit a villain within the context of the story, just that he had sympathetic reasons, which I would agree with, arguably. His farewell is about him failing to do the right thing and loving his brother no matter what he does. In response to you saying there are always other options, and everything you were saying there, Ultra says that's not the point. It is pointing out that he was wrong. He continues by saying, Ultra says, Itachi's not saying he doesn't need forgiveness. He is saying you don't have to forgive me, because he knows what he did was awful. He's saying he will always love Sasuke under the context of destroying everything Itachi has worked for. Itachi is not right in the head. Which I agree with. And he posts the panels. He also clarifies no one is saying that he is evil, hence anti-villain. But Ultra was saying he's a villain, but I would agree. I just don't think he has sympathetic reasons. And I think that was that all of Ultra's argument on Itachi? Oh, no, he's got this as well. If your argument is that the moral aspect is fuzzy, I would agree with you. That's why I mentioned within the context of the story, how they are framed is important.
I don't think Itachi's framed as a villain as soon as you know the truth, though.
Arguably, but we'll get to that another time.
Well, I don't think it's arguable. I think he's framed as a villain until the truth is revealed, where he's no longer framed as a villain.
Well,
He's framed as someone who's done, he did a bad thing. If anything, I think I think the story overly plays him up as a good guy compared to the reality of what he's done. I think they really emphasize that he's the best guy of all time compared to like what he would objectively be, if you ask me. I think the fans treat him as more of a villain, or at least some fans, than what the story actually was trying to make you think.
And that's all.
They're painting like Danzo and the Leaf Village as the villains of the situation, not Itachi. Or even the Uchiha clan. It's everyone but Itachi is who they're portraying as the villain, and Itachi is the one who had to suffer. That's how they're portraying it.
Yeah, I mean, you can have your side in the argument, and you can disagree with my side, but I don't think you can say that you think it's inarguable when I can argue it. It's not how that works.
Okay, argue it. What is your argument for it then?
Well, plus, do you disagree with Ultras who just argued it?
What was his specific argument again?
Let me go refind it. So I can read it word for word. This is the fuzzy response, right? I'll just look up fuzzy. Oh, okay. Fuzzy. If your argument is that the moral aspect is fuzzy, I would agree with you. That's why I mentioned within the context of the story. How they are framed is important.
Yeah, so we need more context.
Well, that's in response to Ace saying there's variance in their actions. Even among heroes, you have those that choose not to kill, Superman and Batman, versus those that do, Wonder Woman and Green Lantern.
As we were speaking that for heroes, anti-heroes, and anti-villains aren't a perfect circle in the Venn diagram, which I didn't say it was a perfect circle. I said that they were the most similar, and the only thing that really separates their motivations, as they both do bad things, is whether one is doing it selflessly for what they think is the betterment of other people as a sacrifice, and one that's doing it for more selfish reasons, for their own benefits.
Yeah, which just gets to how we define the terms.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of like the context, so go back to Ultras again for a second.
Which one? The very bottom one?
The fuzzy one.
I love how we're using that.
It's the fuzzy one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Within the context of the story, so again, like killing people in Naruto isn't necessarily, like in terms of the Batman Superman thing, it just is more acceptable. But again, how it's framed in the story is it was evil until you learn the truth. And then Itachi was no longer viewed as evil from the perspective of literally any of the characters who learned the truth. Other than Itachi himself.
Okay, so that's in reference to getting back to Itachi, the context that he's already laid the foundation for, which is everything here. He's not saying he doesn't need forgiveness. He's saying you don't have to forgive me because he knows what he did was awful. He's saying he will always love Sasuke under the context of destroying everything Itachi has worked for, and Ace entirely disagrees with that interpretation of the scene.
I do.
Okay, we'll be curious about that. But real quick, knowing what he did was awful is distinct from evil.
Okay.
I mean, I need to see some of Ultra's earlier points, because so far, just off of what I remember you saying, go to earlier Ultra things.
You told me to go to the bottom one.
I was gonna say
I'm trying to look for all of them.
It can be a little bit confusing because Ultra and Space were arguing two different points about Itachi. So my comparisons in the statements going back and forth can go back and forth because it does get a bit convoluted as we were holding basically two simultaneous conversations about the same topic on different ways.
But I'm looking at, he says he's legit a villain within the context of the story. So again, which context? Because obviously, pre-Obito revealing the truth, he's legit a villain within the context of the story. But once Itachi's truth has been revealed, I would not say within the context of the story he's portrayed as a villain at all.
Man, wouldn't it be so great if Ultra was here, to explain his point or whatever, like he was supposed to be? Oh, man.
Yes,
mean,
it would be. Very
It
helpful.
would add a lot more to it, though. I think I believe Ultra saw Itachi as an anti-villain, and the bigger issue we had is that we had distinguishing differences between anti-hero and anti-villain, because to me, Itachi's actions are being done as a selfless thing. It's not for his own personal benefit. It's to protect his brother and to protect the village, which he did and murdered his own clan too, because his clan wanted to cause a coup, which we argued whether or not the coup would work and that would have it. He thought it was better to save all the people and stop the coup. So he's willing to kill his own family members to do so, which wasn't like it was something that he enjoyed. He even does show remorse for it. But he did what he thought was necessary because that's the type of character that he's shown to be. Space thought they were a villain because they did the murder and they were willing to go so far as to murder all those people, that a person like that couldn't be seen as being a good person at all, which that's a way to view it. And I believe Ultra was more in the line that saw them as an anti-villain, that they did something that was terrible and they continued on that way. And because they viewed themselves also as that way, it meant that they had to be that way, which I don't see that at all. Comparing himself with Kabuto, saying that they're similar, and Kabuto being a villain doesn't make Itachi also a villain. It means that he sees himself as a villain, as compared to us on the outside, who most people see him as more sympathetic. If you're told, cool, either you murder your entire clan, or your clan is going to fight the entire village and we're going to try to murder them, and whichever way it comes out to it, most of the people involved are going to die, and including probably your little brother who will be involved, because he's going to be a casualty at that point. If the Uchiha do a coup, everybody in the Uchiha family has to get executed that survives. You can't have any survivors. At best, you might get imprisoned, but they got to go because they're a security risk.
So Kamui,
And Itachi chooses
the Kabuto thing. Let's not pretend that the comparison between Itachi and Kabuto is meant to be on their villainy. It's meant to be about the fact that they've lied to everyone around them and to themselves and lost sight of who they truly are. That's the point. It's not to say like Itachi's like, yes, Kabuto, you and I are the same. We're both villains. That's not the comparison that they're making.
Where are those panels? Are they down here actually? Yeah, they're down here.
Also, Oodie, the ancient one's back.
I know, I saw. But okay, so he says that is legit what he says in terms of what he said here that we've already been over. He posted the panels because Space asked, where did he ask? Or was it these panels? Yeah, it was these panels, but it was about talking about it before. In which case, what did he say before? Not too long. Always other options. Actually, where is it? Just the other options. Here, let me look up ego. So I think they mentioned something about that.
Constantly lied and had a big ego.
Yeah. Thoughts?
Yeah. See, again, when he says is seen as the bad guy, by who is he referring to?
Me. No, it's not me.
No, because again, like, obviously, if it's from, like, the random Joe Schmo in the village, well, that was the point, that Itachi wanted that. I don't think he's seen as the bad guy by the people who knew the truth.
I wouldn't say that's
like I
fair.
said, I would argue, outside of Itachi's own perspective, people are like, I feel like Naruto's just gassing him up as the best person ever. Hashirama's gassing him up as the greatest shinobi of all time. Heroes is doing the same. They're all just gassing up Itachi as the best person ever.
Well, that's not the best person ever. That's shinobi, and we know what the shinobi world makes shinobi. Of course, Hashirama would say that.
I know, but my point is that it's very positive So I would argue that no, they're not making him seem like the bad guy. They seem
I
making him
disagree.
seem like someone who made a mistake. But I think there's a difference between that and the bad guy.
I disagree. I think a
Orochimaru's
ninja in
portrayed as
Naruto's
a
a bad thing.
guy.
I think a ninja in
Itachi's
Naruto's a bad
portrayed
thing.
as someone who failed.
Hashirama's ninja is a bad thing. If Hashirama says you're the best ninja of all time, you need
I'm
to
not
leave
going to
ninja
have
away.
your Hashirama arguments for this discussion.
I mean, you can ignore my argument, but that doesn't do anything for you.
Because that's just going to elongate this, and I was planning on ending 2 hours ago
Okay.
for reference.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna make it any. I'm eating my yogurt, and once I'm done, I'm done. So if you need a pivot to MHA for 10 minutes for me, that's fine. But like, I'm not gonna overstay this. I have to wake up in less than 6 hours for a haircut. It's the only time I could get it. Okay. Not my
I've
choice.
never once scheduled a haircut in my life.
I have to for my guy. He's very busy.
You have a guy. That's part of the problem. Go to a place.
Look, I was gonna say, when you get a good guy who understands how to cut your hair in the way you like it, it's important.
Okay. I mean, you could just explain how you want your haircut, by the way.
As
Oodie
someone who's cut
clearly-
hair, it's
Oodie
not that
goes for
simple.
supercuts, clearly, he does not find a good barber.
As someone who cuts my own hair, because I couldn't find anyone that I like to do it since I was a kid for over 20 years now, it's definitely not a simple and easy thing. It is extremely
had
difficult to
complaints.
find someone who can do your hair with a way you specifically like it once you get it done that way. It's like having your favorite meal cooked somewhere. If they don't cook it the same way anymore, it's just not the same. So I can understand that. Though I will say that 8 a.m. is wild for a haircut.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Again, I've never gone this early before. It was just like
This is when they could get you in.
I kind of want to get a haircut now, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
I mean, I'm gonna
already
do it
decided.
too. Since I think I told you in the chat with Cam that I was planning on it at the same time as you.
Wait, what?
Did you not see I was saying earlier in the Cam chat that I'm gonna get a haircut?
Oh yeah, the
already
haircut
February?
thing. Yeah.
He was already planning on it. But yeah. Anyways, we don't have to go over the Hashirama thing. I mean, I don't even know why you would disagree. You agree with me that at the beginning of the series, Land of Waves, the ninja system is portrayed as bad. Hashirama created the ninja system. Hashirama's ninja are bad
Well,
in the context of Naruto.
to be fair though,
That's what he's referring
Hashirama's
to.
ninja system isn't the Blood Mist Village ninjas are tool system.
It
That's not
doesn't
Hashirama's
have to be-
ideology.
because Hashirama still failed. If he didn't, then the Naruto series wouldn't exist.
No, I agree. He failed. I'm just saying, don't act like Hashirama's Danzo, making people
I don't
emotionless
have
tools.
to
That's
do
not
that because-
Hashirama's system.
Hashirama doesn't have to be the devil, but the Hashirama who
But I
failed is the
feel like
Hashirama
you
who
will
made the
definitely
Shinobi system.
take any opportunity to make that argument you can.
The Hashirama who failed is a Hashirama who made the Shinobi system. The Shinobi system was a failure, and that's what Hashirama was referring to as the best ninja of all time. He's not referring to Itachi as the ninja who endured the most or who had the most guts to never give up. He's referring to Hashirama's ninja.
Well,
The
he
one
is
who's the
referring
most
to him for
tooly.
enduring.
Well, yeah,
Not
yeah,
for the
endured
guts to
as a
never give up.
tool. Yeah, congrats. He didn't break like Haku. You know, who's doing a
Well, then
bad thing.
ideally-
He was more so looking at the fact that he was focusing on like the village prosperity aspect. That's like Hashirama's ninja. It's like the for the village
The
mindset.
village that sent children to war, yeah. But we don't have to get into it.
But anyway,
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say, if you look at it as either a black or white thing, then no, nobody in the ninja world, including Naruto, has succeeded. But if you look at it on a gradient scale, things are decidedly better now than they were in his time, which at the end of the
The
day is
Boruto
sometimes
era.
the best you could hope for, because progress isn't linear. They're
mean in the
they're
Boruto
closer.
era?
They are closer in the time of Naruto and Shippuden towards the goal of what they wanted to, of having a more peaceful future, than they were in what would be the equivalent of the Warring States period of clans versus clans and bloody battles every single day.
In the Warring States era, arguably, I mean, Madara would disagree with you because whereas there's times of ceasefire, the wars are more bloody in comparison to overall in the long term make it to where there's more deaths. But either way. I mean, to me, the shinobi system is dictated by the villages, which would mean if the shinobi system failed, it's because the villages also failed.
And yeah, I mean, the major villages are just the biggest versions. Even smaller villages have the same thing on a smaller scale.
Well, the smaller villages are also dictated by the bigger villages as well.
Generally, some are run over though, like the land of Rain that doesn't have its own village and got the Akatsuki. They just tend to get in the middle of large battles, like real life. Smaller nations in the middle between larger ones get crushed by the larger
because
opponents.
literally they're like located in like the worst place possible, to where they just were in the middle of the great nations' wars.
Very true. I mean, there's other nations that are also in between that get in the way of that, but they just have the worst positioning, so it makes the most sense they're the most radicalized.
Yeah.